Welcome to today's topic. We are going to be talking about 3 key mindset shifts you need to make in order to make bold investments in yourself. This is really going to be a money mindset makeover for you today. And I'm going to teach you 3 of the secrets that I have used to make investments that scare me a little bit. You know, when you invest in yourself at a higher level, it can feel a little bit scary because you are doing something that's more bold. It's something outside of perhaps your comfort level or what you've presently done for yourself up to this point. So this is going to be kind of a deep dive into some of those mindset issues that really stop people financially from investing in themselves. If you've ever used the phrase, I can't afford it, or it's not in my budget, then today's video is for you. This topic is for you, and it's going to make a huge difference. So the first thing that we need to determine when we use the phrase, I can't afford it, or it's not in my budget, is we need to determine if it's a smokescreen or it's truly a budget issue. I want to tell you a story from my own life. So when I decided to hire my first ever business coach, this was a little over 4 years ago. So it was the fall of 2017. I got on the phone with this coach and learned about their program. And at the end of the call, they told me the price for the program, and it was $5,000. Well, that seemed like a huge amount of money for me. I had never invested, so I thought, I had never invested that amount of money in myself. And I just I kind of got flustered on the phone, and I was like, yeah, I can't really afford that. Okay, bye. And hung up the phone. And since I worked with that business coach, he liked to tease me about that phone call. But that phone call actually taught me a lot about myself. And it taught me that it wasn't that I couldn't afford that program. I was dealing with some internal things. Sometimes what we do is we use the phrase, I can't afford it, as a smokescreen. It's a way to deflect from the real issue. And we may not be doing this consciously. We're not doing it maliciously to the other person on the end of the phone or the person we're talking to. We legitimately, our brain is can't compute this change, must shut down, get off the phone, right? And so we just kind of blurt out the phrase, I can't afford it, because there's actually something deeper going on. So I would say 90% of the time it's a smokescreen when we say I can't afford it or it's not in my budget, and 10% of the time it's a budget issue. Let's kind of work through these. So if it's a smokescreen and you say I can't afford it and you really can, there's a few things that could be going on. One thing is you might not actually like the person. You might not actually like the coach or the service provider or the person that is selling you, or you just don't like them, okay? And that's legitimate. We don't vibe with everybody, and it's okay to be this person is not my vibe, right? There have been lots of people that I've looked at hiring over the course of my life, and there are people that I've talked to and I've just been you're not my vibe, right? I just don't vibe with you. I just don't connect with you. And that's totally okay. And it's also okay to tell people that. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, it's okay to say, I think you're fabulous. I just don't think you're the right fit for me, or I just don't think you're my vibe. It's okay to be honest about that. The second smokescreen that could be going on is that you actually don't think that this product or service is the right solution for you, and that you're not confident it can actually fix your problem. So you will use the phrase, I can't afford it, to avoid saying, I don't think this thing will solve my problem. Now, if you said, I don't think this will solve my problem, you might engage in a deeper level of conversation that will actually uncover if it is the right solution for you or not, if it will actually solve your problem or not. But that's the second thing that could be going on. And then the third thing that could be going on as a smokescreen is that you don't actually think that you will use the thing or you will commit to change. All right. So for me, going back to the story with me and my business coach that I first hired, the thing that was going on for me when I said I can't afford it and hung up the phone, what was actually going on for me was I didn't believe in myself. I actually fully believed in the coach. I trusted him. I didn't have any question about his qualifications or his ability to get me results. I actually was confronting my own internal self-doubt that I could actually be successful in his program, that I would actually implement the things that he would teach and it would return the investment. I was scared, all right? That's just the short of it. And it's normal to be scared when we are investing in change in ourselves. When you hire a coach, this is not buying a Fendi purse, right? This is not buying a vacation, like where you sit back and do nothing. When you invest in a coach, you're paying them to now do work, right? Like you have to do the work. They're giving you the play-by-play. They're giving you the guidebook. They're giving you support. Think about this analogy. When you hire a coach, you are hiring a guide on your journey in a particular area of your life. So think about hiking up a mountain. You might hire a guide to help you go hike the Pacific Coast Trail. And you hire this guide and they have a map and they know where we're going. They know how to get there. But you still have to be the one to hike the trail. Okay, you still have to put one foot in front of the other and hike the trail. They are keeping you on path. They're showing you the right way to go. They're keeping you from turning around and walking back to the car when you want to quit, right? And they're keeping you from falling off the cliff edges, right? But ultimately, you are the one hiking the trail. You are the one doing the work. So when we are interviewing coaches, we will often use the phrase, "I can't afford it," to cover up our deep-seated fear that we will not actually be successful in that program. And these are very normal smoke screens to go through, okay? So the invitation to you is to start to actually ask yourself, what's actually going on for me? Because very rarely is it that I can't afford it. You know, if tomorrow somebody was like, Heather, do you want to buy this yacht? First of all, I don't want a yacht, but let's say that I wanted one. I really can't afford a yacht. I don't have the money to buy a $3 million yacht. But if I was really committed to buying a yacht, maybe I actually would look at, is there an opportunity to take out a loan? Is there a service where I can partner with 20 other people and we all buy a portion of a yacht? And I could afford that, right? Like if I actually wanted the yacht, I would actually get super committed to figuring out a solution. I wouldn't just say I can't afford it. So if it's truly a budget issue, okay, if it's truly a budget issue and you truly can't afford it, but you want to do it and you know it's the solution for you, how you can tell the difference is you will immediately start saving for that thing. If it's truly a budget issue and you've used the phrase, I can't afford it, or it's not in my budget, you will know it's truly a budget issue for you when you start saving. If you do not start saving for that thing, it's not that you can't afford it. Okay, there's some other issue going on for you. You either don't like the coach or they're not your vibe. You don't think it's the right solution for you, or you're not confident can fix your problem, or you don't think you're going to use it or commit to the change. Very rarely is it a budget issue. Americans' average saving has jumped 10% from 2020 to 2021. The government has printed so much money and given it to the American people in the form of stimulus checks. Like Americans actually have more savings than ever. Another way to think about this is if tomorrow I said, hey, if you can come up with $5,000 by tomorrow, I will give you your dream house free and clear. Free and clear. All you have to do is in 24 hours come up with $5,000 in cash, bring that to me. I will give you any house that you want, a dream house. It could be a $10 million house, fully furnished. That's all you have to do. Give me $5,000 just in 24 hours. Do you think you would come up with $5,000? Of course you would, okay? So very rarely can we not afford things. Usually what's going on is we have fear, we have doubt, or we don't actually connect with the coach, or we don't think they're going to solve our problem. And so we use, I can't afford it as a smokescreen instead of being honest. Okay. Now, it's not that you're being honest to be malicious. I want to clarify that. You're not trying to be bad. You could be unconsciously actually saying this. And that's why I'm having this conversation with you, so you can start to uncover these hidden barriers in your thought process. So if you discover it is in fact a smokescreen, then your access to empowerment is to practice being honest with yourself and the other person. It will leave you much more empowered and at the source of your ability to generate the financial resources that you desire to have to reach the goals that you want. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to do. You need to determine, is it a smoke screen or is it truly a budget issue? And this is the first step towards making investments, bold investments in yourself that can scare you a little bit. The second thing to do is to create a souped up pro-con list. When you are about to invest at a higher level, it can feel scary. Why? Well, you potentially have more to lose. If I go and spend $1 on a coffee at 7-Eleven and it turns out to be really bad coffee, I'm just out $1, right? I didn't lose a lot. But if I spend $5,000 on a business coach and he turns out to be, a shill, if he turns out to be a fraud, and I get nothing from working with him, I'm out $5,000. That hurts more, right? So when we are making investments that scare us a little bit, that push us to the edge, that are beyond what we've previously done, it can be really helpful to look at the pros and cons. But I call this a souped up pro-con list because it's not just 2 lists, it's actually 4. So it's a quadrant. It's a pro-con quadrant. The old version of a pro-con list is pro and con, right? The pro of doing it, the con of doing it. Now what we want is we have 4 quadrants. And in those 4 quadrants, we have the pro of doing it, the con of not doing it, the con of doing it, and the pro of not doing it. I'll say those again. The pro of doing it and the con of not doing it should go in one category, one side of the page. And then the con of doing it and the pro of not doing it should go on the right-hand side. And what I love about this pro-con quadrant, it will help you, give you much more information on this potential decision that you want to make. It will actually give you a lot more data on the cost of inaction. So a lot of times when we are considering making investments, we are only considering the cost of action, right? We're like, oh, I have to spend this money, or I have to invest this time and energy to do this thing now. I have to commit to change. I feel the cost of taking action, right? You feel the literal cost of money. You feel the cost to your energy. You feel the cost to your schedule. You feel the cost to your comfort routine, right? Your comfort zone. You feel that cost. But there's actually a huge cost in life to not taking action. And most people fail to look at this. They just look at the cost of taking action. So what's the cost of not taking action? Okay, so there's really 5 things, okay? 1, your problem gets worse. A lot of people think that if they don't invest in a solution, they might not solve it, but it'll just stay the same. That's actually not the case. You're moving forward or backwards in life typically. Very rarely is there stasis. And if you are not solving a problem in your life, it is getting worse. So when you choose not to take action, your problem gets worse. And I see this a lot of times with women in their bodies, right? They delay taking action and then they come back to me like 6 months later and they've gained even more weight, or they're even more unhappy in their skin, or they're even more clueless about nutrition, right? It doesn't get better typically on its own. Number 2, the solution increases in price. Have y'all noticed this? I was shopping for a used car last year when I moved back to Austin, and I am so glad that I bought my car when I did, because right after I bought my used car, the demand for used cars has shot up. And I recently got a notice that told me my used car was worth $4,000 more than I bought it for. What? Cars usually depreciate, right? You drive them off the lot and they're instantly depreciating. Nope, not used cars right now. The demand is outstripping the supply. And so the cost of a used car is like very much higher than it was even 8-9 months ago, right? If I had waited to buy my used car and hemmed and hawed and said, well, maybe the price will go down, or maybe I can find a better deal, blah, 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 I'm actually losing money by waiting to take action. My solution increased in price. And luckily in that case, I seized the day and I bought my car at a good price. But when we delay taking action, solutions only increase in price. Inflation is only increasing every single year in society, or even more so in the US right now with the government printing money. Inflation is only increasing. Okay, so companies have to raise their prices to keep up with inflation. So like the longer you wait, you are going to pay a higher price eventually for that solution. All right, so that's another cost to not taking action. Third, your dollar loses value every year because of inflation, and even more so right now. Okay, so not only are you going to pay more in the future, but your dollar is worth even less to you in the future. So while the price has gone up, your dollar has less purchasing power. So like you really feel that effect, right? So that's another cost to not taking action. Unforeseen costly consequences of not taking action. So when you choose not to solve problems, you are delaying the problem. You are not avoiding the problem, right? So for example, with your health and your well-being, your nutrition, for example, if you have weight to lose and like your waist is say over 35 inches, like you're increasing your risk of heart disease and diabetes. Health at every size is not accurate. There is a direct correlation between your waist being over 35 inches as a woman and your risk of heart disease and diabetes and hypertension going up. So there are unforeseen costly consequences to delaying taking action with your body. Also, just like your energy, your vitality, your performance, your confidence, your relationship with your partner, your sex life, your friendships, your mental clarity, your focus, your mood. When you do not take action to improve those things in your life and solve them, you are creating future costly consequences that are unforeseen, that you don't even know are happening. Another cost of not taking action with regards to your health and well-being is that you will probably continue to spend money on food and alcohol at restaurants. All right. When people apply to my program, I ask them to tell me, how much did you spend this past year on food and alcohol? And it's usually over $2,000 that they've spent in 1 year. All right, that's a lot of money to spend on restaurant meals and alcohol that don't actually improve your health, that don't actually contribute to you being vital and energized. All right, so you can see that there's a lot of reasons, there's a lot of costs to not taking action. And when you do this souped up pro-con list, it gives you access to being able to actually discern what is the cost of taking action, but what is the cost of not taking action. And anytime I've struggled with a hard decision in life, a big decision, a big investment, I use a pro-con list like this, the pro-con quadrant, and it helps me gain clarity so quickly on what the right move to make is, okay? The third thing that I like to do when I'm making a bold investment in myself that can be a little scary is I like to seek testimonials, all right? I like to interview current customers or clients of that service provider. I'm going to tell you another story. I once almost hired a Facebook ads guy. All right, so I was trying to figure out, how do I reach more women to help them with their nutrition? What's the best strategy and way to do this? And a lot of people use Facebook ads, and so I was exploring that as a potential solution in my business. And I almost hired this person. He came recommended from a friend, but he was $5,000. And when I asked him for references, he couldn't give me any. He gave me an excuse, which was we protect our clients' confidentiality, so I can't just give their names out. And so I said, okay, great. Could you ask a few of your clients for permission to give me their names and emails so I could ask them about what it's like working with you? And he still couldn't do it. That is a red flag, y'all. Big, giant red flag. You want to trust the investment that you're about to make. And so you should not hesitate to ask for current references that you can speak to, not just read a testimonial on their website, but that you can actually go straight to one of their current clients and ask them about their experience. If they will not provide those to you, do not invest in that person. Do not invest in that coach or service provider. Anyone who wants to work with me, I can easily provide them people to talk to, both current clients and past clients. I can say, hey, here's a handful of people that you can go talk to. They could also do their own sleuthing and figure out people that are my current clients and message them without even asking me, probably, right? And a lot of my clients actually come from referrals. So people are actually referring me people because they've had a good experience. So it's so important that you seek out testimonials if you are having hesitation or fear around a bigger investment, because it will really start to help you discern if this is the right solution for you, if this is the right service provider for you. Okay, so let's summarize the 3 steps to making bold investments in yourself that can scare you a little bit. The first thing is you need to determine if you're using the excuse, I can't afford it, or it's not in my budget, if you're using that as a smokescreen or it's a true budget issue. All right, if it's a true budget issue, then you could go to your bank account and you will not see any money in your bank account. It will be zero. You'll have $0 in your bank account, $0 in your savings, $0 in your investment accounts. You'll see 0. That is a true budget issue. And then you shouldn't even be on Instagram. You should not be on social media. You should be working an extra job, getting a side hustle. You should be doing whatever you need to do to get your account out of 0. Now, for most people, it's not actually a budget issue. They have the money. Just like that story I told you with my business coach, I had $5,000. I had more than $5,000. And I can't afford it as an excuse because I was actually scared about whether or not I would be successful, which is a legitimate fear, and it's totally normal and okay to have that fear. But let's stop using I can't afford it as an excuse for I'm actually scared. I'm scared I won't do it. I'm scared I won't be successful, because that then uncovers the inner work that you actually need to do in order to be successful. If you use I can't afford it as a smokescreen, you are delaying your inner transformation. You are delaying your growth as a human being. You are not confronting what's actually going on inside of you, which is your lack of belief in yourself. Okay? If it's a smokescreen, here's how you will know. Okay, I can't afford it. Here's how you will know that I can't afford it is a smokescreen. You will never reach out to that coach again for help, or you will be stuck with this problem year after year. If it's truly a budget issue, you will start saving or getting very proactive to discover how you can pay for it. I once had a client who wanted to work with me, but it was a little bit out of her budget, and it was truly like she needed to get her money together. And 3 months later, she messaged me and said, okay, I'm ready. That was a true budget issue, right? She needed some time to get some money together. Totally legitimate. But like that, she told me the truth, like truly was a budget issue. If it's truly a budget issue, you will start saving and or getting very proactive to discover how you can pay for it. You can use PayPal credit, right? That's a way that you can pay for things over 6 months with no interest. It's a great way to divvy things up. You can do payment plans. You can put things on your credit card. There's lots of ways to pay for things in life that you are committed to. All right. So the second step to take is do a souped up pro-con list. So do the pro-con quadrant and really look at those 4 areas to determine what's the cost of taking action, but also what's the cost of not taking action, because there's always a cost to inaction in our life. And then the third thing that I recommend doing when you're making those big investments in yourself is seek out testimonials from current clients and make sure that you can talk to those people and really discern if this is the right solution for you. And then here's a little bonus tip. Hire coaches and service providers that provide some type of guarantee. And it should be not a fake, shiny, too good to be true guarantee. It should be a real guarantee. For example, in my program, I have a guarantee. Because I believe in my process and my system so much, and I know that it works, if my clients follow a series of things they need to do, right, and they hit a certain amount of targets, if they do all those things and they don't lose at least 6% on their waist measurement by the end of my program, they can do another round of my program at no additional cost. That's how much I believe in my process and my system. So if you have a fear about, for example, my program working for you to help you achieve fat loss, there's actually a guarantee that helps decrease that risk of you investing in yourself. Because there's always a risk when we invest in ourselves, right? But if a program has a guarantee, that's a really good way to alleviate some of your fears. It also means that the service provider really believes in their process and system, and they know it works. Like, I've been doing this for 4.5 years. So like, I know my system works if people follow it. If you don't follow it, then yeah, you won't get the results. But if you follow it, you're going to see results. All right. I hope this topic helped you today. I hoped it inspired you to look more deeply within yourself, to really question the things that you're saying. And when I'm coaching people, I'm always coaching people because I've been through that thing myself. And I hope that me sharing my story about my fear with my business coach helped alleviate that for you. And ultimately, I did invest in that business coach. I realized that I had actually spent $100,000 to go into debt to go to nursing school, which was actually the least helpful thing I could have done for my financial wealth in life, right? Working as a nurse, I graduated, was making like $30. No, I was making like $24 an hour. And then when I finished nursing, I was making like $31 an hour, which is backbreaking, extremely hard work for such a low paycheck. And when I realized that I had spent $100,000 for a degree that really wasn't fulfilling me, and nor was it helping me grow in my own personal growth and my own personal, evolution, I realized that, wow, $5,000 to hire a business coach was nothing. And that investment turned out to be probably one of the best investments I've ever made in my entire life. The return on investment financially happened immediately. And then the long-term benefits, the friendships that I've made, the experiences I've had, the personal growth that it triggered, the mindset work that I've done, it sent me on a path of transformation that was unpredictable for me. And it all started with me having that kernel of faith in myself and saying, okay, I'm scared to invest in myself. Deep breath, I'm going to do it anyway. If this inspired you, then please share it to your Instagram stories, share it to your social media, and tag me with your biggest takeaway. I'd love to hear what was most helpful for you from this topic. Thanks for listening.